Welcome friends to another r/MaliciousCompliance video. We've got a lot of awesome stories today, and our first one's from A Stackhouse. Let me cut those hours for you. I was working as a manager for a small general store. When I started, I had another manager working nights with me. The general manager fired him for tying his shoe one night, claiming he was attempting to steal cash. Yes, this actually happened. I observed the audit on the store finances and saw the camera footage. All money was accounted for. The work then fell on me to operate the entire store by myself. I often ran the entire store alone. I ran the register, put out nearly 1,000 crates of freight per week, and maintained the floor, which contained hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise at a single time. Crime and drugs in the area were rampant. Shoplifting happened on a nearly hourly basis. I was getting to the end of my rope after a tweaker broke into my office and stole my backpack. It had nearly $1,000 of stuff in it. It had deteriorated so bad that tweakers were running into the store, loading up carts, and running out. Soon after she fired the other manager, the general manager started getting really petty, finding really minor things to discipline me about. If a customer put a box of Skittles back in the wrong place, if I didn't find it, I would be disciplined. Then one day I was called into the back office to be disciplined. She was upset that I couldn't maintain the floor perfectly while simultaneously working the warehouse, the register, and doing the accounting. Turns out they had finally found a potential second manager after failing to hire anyone for a significant amount of time. This gave her and the district manager a power trip. I was no longer their last manager, so they threatened to cut my hours as punishment if I was unable to do hundreds of boxes worth of freight, run the register, rep the warehouse for tomorrow's delivery, fix the entire store, and do the accounting within the 8 hours I was scheduled. No overtime permitted. I went back to the warehouse to think over my options and realized this new manager that they hired wasn't even trained yet and had yet to demonstrate that he was even capable of performing the tasks. So I walked back into the office, handed the general manager my keys, said, "Which, let me cut those hours for you," and walked out. I called the guy I used to close with, and he told me he now works for a pharmacy. He got me a job there in the accounting within a week, and I nearly tripled my income. The general managers were on salary, so with me leaving, the general manager would have had to have worked non-stop 14 hours, 7 days a week for no overtime. This was a common thing the company would do because staffing was such an issue, especially these days. I haven't been back, but my suspicion is this new manager they'd found probably didn't last more than a few weeks. These people really did not realize how ridiculous they were being or something. How much do you think a person can take before they're just finally fine, I'm out, I'm gone? Do you think you'd be able to last more than a few shifts doing that amount of work for 8 hours? Let me know in the comments down below. I don't do anything, right? Fine, I'll do it your way. I used to work for a private company, which was owned by a wealthy woman who could afford to have her dim-witted, stubborn, and mean daughter run one of the departments. It didn't go well, but it was a small department, and the mother was more interested in keeping her daughter happy than it making profit. Thankfully, the daughter, M, usually only worked a few hours each morning to help me out, and then she would leave. I'm all for inclusion and encouraging people to learn new things, but M was not fit for management, and definitely didn't have the faculties for accounting. She would help me, and I would wait for her to leave so I could fix it. Writing legible notes, sending notices, giving customers change and receipts, posting past due notices, etc. This went on for 3 years until I found a better job and gave 2 weeks' notice. M was livid. She felt like it was a betrayal. M started staying all day to do any bookkeeping. She started talking to coworkers and customers alike, telling them I don't know how to do my job, I do everything wrong, and it's all my fault we were in a better department. She would do this in front of my face too, pulling someone aside to talk in stage whispers. I can't do anything right? If you say so, I'll stop doing things my way and only do what you explicitly ask. I won't take the fullest usage from a payment, but instead give change like they're buying 1 unit. I won't transcribe her atrocious handwriting. I won't give past due notices. I won't maintain the customer balance spreadsheets. By the end of my last 2 weeks, they had switched from using Excel to using a spiral notebook to log customer payments. gave away the laptop with the old notes and customer contact sheet, and forgave any outstanding balances because M insisted my notes were wrong. Meaning they lost a couple $1,000 and the clients would have no way to contact them unless they came in person, since our department didn't have a designated phone number. But remember, I never do anything right. I'm gonna say they started saying OP did nothing right, so that when OP actually did leave and it's revealed that M doesn't know how to do anything, they can blame all the poor practices on the person that left and can't defend themselves anymore. Either that or maybe it was just overall pure projection. By the way, if you're enjoying these stories, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below so you never miss any of my daily videos. Each one has awesome stories, like our next one from Chaotic Whisper 1918. I'm only here to clean? Okay. A few weeks ago, I made a post about my boss having what I can only describe as a meltdown. She had been berating us, unfairly punishing us, and favoring employees that deserved to be fired. Since making that post, there's only been, as far as I'm aware, one instance of her making false, accusatory statements to one of my coworkers. Something about my coworker verbally berating our manager and spreading gossip. My coworker, to their credit, called my boss out for her bald-faced lies, and my boss seemed to calm down a bit. The issue, though, is that my boss is super paranoid about everything. This is new behavior for her, as she's usually a very level-headed and rational person. She's highly educated with a doctorate degree, she has a memory as sharp as a tack, and has always been extremely calm, even in the most serious situations. As I said in the last post in the comments, she's very ill. She has a plethora of illnesses, I'm not sure what they are, but I know they're serious, and requires a lot of medication. Steroids. We believe she's either recently changed her meds or upped the dosage, which is causing her paranoia and bouts of anger. Corticosteroids can cause the following: problems with mood swings, memory, behavior, and other psychological effects, such as confusion or delirium. This would definitely explain why she's acting this way. She's not herself on these medications, and probably doesn't even realize it. It helps a lot for me to know that her behavior is just a side effect of the harsh, yet necessary meds she's on. But it's still hurtful that she's treating us like that regardless. Another update, my coworker's dedicated helper finally got fired. She was deemed unfit for the job and let go a couple weeks back. It took them way too long to do that, but better late than never, I guess. They have yet to find a replacement for her, and so I've been put in her place temporarily. Another one of my coworkers quit last week without notice. She was fed up with the environment and favoritism, so after months of deciding whether or not she should, she finally just walked. I'm honestly very proud of her for leaving. As for me, I had a working interview a week or two ago, but I didn't get a call back, which I'm fine with. I wasn't thrilled about the place anyway, but I'm still applying for anything and everything I can. I have about 40 job applications that I've submitted since the original blow-up. We're down 3 people and management can't seem to fill the spots. Gee, I wonder why. Honestly, OP's pretty understanding, all things considered. That said, even though it's like a side effect of medication that they're taking, really it's still no real excuse in the workplace. If they can't be professional and do their job professionally, there's probably a real problem here. And it doesn't excuse the favoritism that's going on here that OP pointed out as well. Our next story is from Habersha. I have to choose my own topic to speak about at a conference I don't really want to go to? No problem. This is quite an old story and I'm going to keep it deliberately vague. When I was still fairly new to the job, I was asked to speak at a conference. This conference was actually a promotional event being organized by a manufacturer of a chemical used in my industry. I was employed by a government department to be an independent advisor, not beholden to any particular manufacturer or supplier. I felt that speaking at this event was a major conflict of interest, as it would appear that I was openly promoting this particular chemical. However, senior people in my organization were not so ethical. The department was a boys' club, and the manufacturer of the chemical was one of these boys, and told me I had to accept the invitation. Even worse, the initial agenda looked like this: John, topic A; Tom, topic B; Harry, topic C; someone from X department, topic TBA. The role of someone from X department fell to me by default because the other, more preferred candidates were unavailable. I didn't even have an actual place or role on the agenda. I was just an extra to fill a gap. I asked the conference organizer what they wanted me to speak about. How about topic A, they said. I told them that was being covered by John already. A similar discussion was had about topics B and C, and eventually the conference organizer said, well, why don't you call the other speakers, see what they're talking about, and see where you can fit in. Hang on a minute, it's not my role to do all my own legwork to find a topic. That's your role as an organizer. My role as a speaker is to take the topic you give me, do my research, write my talk, and deliver it. And quite frankly, if the organizers couldn't think of a topic, did I really need to be a presenter at all? I thought, fine, if you want me to choose my own topic, then I'm going to present another point of view. There had been some recent research into other chemicals, and the results were promising, so I thought I'd talk about this research. And to be quite honest, I simply couldn't think of another topic, as I felt every base had been covered by people much more experienced than me. So I informed the conference organizers that I'd chosen my topic, and I would speak about the recent work on these other products. I then got hold of the results of the research and wrote what I think was a pretty good speech. Well, a few days later, the conference organizers rang me and said they didn't need me after all. No apology for wasting my time was given. You gotta love when people who are in the role of organizer have no freaking idea what they're actually doing. You can rest assured that these people know how to really lead and organize things when it ends up being a whole jumbled process, and at the very end, they spit you out wasting your time. And our final story of the day is by ShotSprinkles6930. I humiliated my supervisor. I, 55-year-old female, have been working for the same place for over 20 years. Here comes a new supervisor, we'll call him AH Boss. My previous boss, temp supervisor, hated me because heck, he just hated women period. So when AH Boss took over, he gave him an earful about me. A little background on me, I do my job very well, but I don't take crap off no one, which resulted in me and temporary supervisor to bump heads. So when the new supervisor took over, I was the problem child. Jerk Boss hated me from day one. No matter what, he hated me. One day at work, I was feeling horrible and told new Jerk Boss I needed to leave to go to the hospital. If looks could kill, I would have dropped dead right in front of him. He didn't want me to leave. I left anyway, and thank God I did, because I was truly sick. I had emergency surgery that night and was out of work for 2 months. While I was out of work, this man harassed me every week as to when I was coming back. He was lucky because I was on heavy drugs at the time and I didn't feed into his BS. 2 months later, I'm back at work and realize none of my work was done by my backup person. I had over 509 reports that needed to go on our website. I asked him what happened, and he told me don't worry about it. I thought that was weird because these reports needed to go up within a 60-day period, and it was well past the 60 days. A few days later, I asked again. He said no, don't post it because he had other people to do my job. I said okay. I then wait and sent him an email confirming he didn't want me to post it. He came back saying, yes, I don't want you to touch it. I said okay and saved my email. Here's the malicious compliance part. A few months later, people started inquiring about the reports and why the new ones were not posted. It got to the big bosses and they questioned the both of us. He didn't know that they'd already questioned me about it, and he started yelling at me about not doing my job. I sat there at my desk just smiling when he went in about getting me fired. I simply said, oh, are you talking about the reports you told me to not post? He said, I never said that. I turned to my computer and printed out an email stating that I was not to touch the reports. The look on his face was priceless. I then told him I sent a copy of this email to upper management and they know it wasn't my fault. By this time, his supervisor was yelling for him to get in his office. I smiled and said, good luck with that. He ended up leaving a few months later. I got the biggest satisfaction in knowing I got him in trouble and I kept my job. I think this goes to show that if a manager has a personal vendetta for an employee underneath them, but said employee isn't actually doing anything wrong and it's just like this personal petty thing, that trying to gun for them to lose their job might just make them the wily coyote getting smashed with an anvil while trying to chase the roadrunner. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel, and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.